There is a moment in life that feels quiet on the outside, but violent on the inside. It's the moment you stop refreshing your phone. The moment you realize no one is checking in. No encouragement, no backup plan, no cavalry coming over the hill. You look around your life and understand something most people never fully accept. You are on your own. For most people, this realization is crushing. They interpret it as rejection, as abandonment, as proof that something is wrong with them. But for a very small group of people, this moment does something different. It doesn't break them. It hardens them. If you're still watching, it's probably because you feel it already. That quiet pressure, that sense that you're meant for more, but no one around you seems to care. You're tired of explaining yourself, tired of justifying your ambition, tired of waiting for support that never comes. So let's say this clearly. The idea that you need support to succeed is one of the most damaging myths ever sold to ambitious people. History doesn't reward the supported. It rewards the decisive. And today, we're going to dismantle the illusion and show why having no one might be the most powerful position you can be in. But understand this before we go further. This isn't comfort content. This isn't motivation. This is a mental extraction. If you still need reassurance, approval, or someone to walk beside you, this isn't for you. But if you're ready to become dangerous in silence, listen carefully. This is where power begins. From the moment you were young, you were trained to depend. Group projects, team sports, networking events, community, collaboration, consensus. You were taught that progress happens when people lift you up. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Sounds harmless, sounds practical. But embedded inside that idea is something corrosive. It teaches you that without other people you are incomplete, that your power exists outside yourself. Machiavelli warned against this exact mistake. He wrote that a wise ruler depends only on what he can control, never on the will or consistency of others. Because the moment your progress depends on another human being, your fate is no longer yours. People act in self-interest. They get tired, they get jealous, they change direction. And when you build your future on their stability, you inherit their weakness. This is why support is never free. Every favor creates obligation. Every investment creates ownership. Every emotional lifeline creates leverage. Support feels warm, but honestly, warmth can make you slow. A safety net doesn't just catch you. It limits how high you're willing to climb. And most people don't fail because they lack resources. They fail because they're still scanning the horizon for approval, still shaping their vision to be acceptable, still waiting to be told it's okay to begin. That hesitation, well, it costs more than failure ever could. Which brings us to the most important concept you need to understand: the 0 point. The 0 point is when you strip everything away. No money to fall back on, no contacts to call, no one emotionally invested in your outcome, just you, staring back at yourself. Most people panic here, but this is where freedom actually begins. When you have zero support, you have zero masters, No one can pull funding. No one can withdraw belief. No one can guilt you into compromise. If you fail, it's on you. If you win, it's yours. That level of ownership terrifies people who need permission to exist. But to the outlier, it's oxygen. Here's where most people make a critical mistake. They interpret loneliness as a sign they should seek love, validation, encouragement, agreement. But love is not a growth strategy. When you crave approval, you leak power. People sense it instantly. They hear it in your explanations. They see it in your eyes. The more you need them to believe in you, the less they do. Competence commands respect. Neediness repels it. And this is where you must make a psychological shift. You stop trying to be liked. You start becoming undeniable. This doesn't happen loudly. It happens in silence. This is what we'll call the ghost phase, when no one is watching, and that becomes your advantage. Most people sabotage themselves by talking too early. They announce goals, they tease projects, they share visions before they're built. And the moment they do, something leaks. Doubt enters, energy dissipates. They get a dopamine hit just from being heard, and the urgency disappears. The ghost doesn't speak. The ghost builds. You take a vow of silence around your ambition. No posting, no explaining, no seeking feedback from people who haven't done what you're trying to do. Silence creates internal pressure, and pressure, when contained, becomes force. When you carry a goal without release, it builds inside you. It becomes restlessness, anxiety, obsession, good. That discomfort is fuel. While others are relaxed by reassurance, you're sharpened by isolation. And here's the part most people don't talk about. Working alone hurts. There is a grief phase. You grieve the future you imagined, the one where people understood, where family supported, where friends grew with you. They won't, and pretending otherwise keeps you weak. You will lie awake at night, questioning your sanity, wondering if you're arrogant, wondering if they're right and you're wrong. This is the wilderness. Every outlier passes through it. You've left the herd, but you haven't arrived anywhere yet. In this space, the mind gets loud. Old voices resurface, teachers, relatives, cultural programming. They tell you to be realistic, to be safe, to come back. But once you've seen the pattern, that most people live on autopilot, you can't unsee it. So something inside you has to die. The dependent version of you, the one who needed reassurance, the one who outsourced authority. This is where self-leadership begins. You become your own parent, your own disciplinarian, your own provider, your own judge. There is the weak self, emotional, tired, reactive, and there is the commander. The commander doesn't negotiate with excuses, he gives orders. Over time, the weak voice gets quieter. Not because life gets easier, but because leadership becomes internal. This is what Machiavelli meant by flexibility of disposition. You learn to be ruthless with yourself now, so you can be free later. And here's the brutal truth. When you have no support, there's no one to enable your weakness. If you don't work, nothing moves. If you hesitate, you pay immediately. That feedback loop is brutal. And honestly, it's incredibly efficient. Comfort delays growth. Isolation accelerates it. This is where your strategic advantage becomes clear. A solo operator moves faster than any group. No meetings, no approvals, no politics. You can pivot your entire life in a single afternoon. While organizations debate, you execute. While teams plan, you learn. Zero support forces you to become competent in everything. Marketing, psychology, finance, systems. You don't become a specialist, you become dangerous. Generalists who build from scratch understand the whole machine. They are honestly irreplaceable. And this is where emotion stops being a liability and becomes a weapon. Most people numb pain. They scroll, they distract, they sedate. But you do the opposite. You feel it. Every rejection, every silence, every doubt. And instead of collapsing under it, you convert it. Pain becomes output. Anger is cleaner fuel than sadness. Sadness makes you heavy. Anger moves you. You don't become destructive. You become, well, precise. Every slight goes into the furnace. Ignored, work harder. Dismissed, build better. Underestimated, perfect. This is sublimation, turning raw emotion into disciplined production. Over time, your nervous system rewires. Pain no longer slows you down. It triggers action. This is what Machiavelli called virtù, the capacity to impose your will on circumstance. Which brings us to discipline. Freedom without structure destroys most people. If you're alone and undisciplined, entropy wins. So you need protocols, not habits, laws, not suggestions. You win the morning negotiation. No snooze, no debate. You enter deep work, not constant work. Hours of uninterrupted focus where real progress happens. You control your information diet. No noise, no drama, no content that weakens your frame. And every night, you audit yourself. Did I build, or did I distract myself? There is no manager coming. You are both worker and authority. Now, let's address the lie you'll hear next. Go network. Networking is for people without leverage. When you have nothing to offer, you become a beggar in expensive rooms. Power doesn't respond to need, it responds to value. Build first. Skill, product, results. Become necessary. When you're valuable, connections find you. When you're not, events waste your time. The strongest network is proof. And eventually, if you stay silent and consistent, something shifts. Results appear. Money, confidence, momentum. And suddenly, the room that was empty starts filling. People return. They rewrite history. They say they always believed. This is your final test. You don't argue, you don't celebrate, you simply observe. Conditional loyalty isn't evil. It's human. But you don't build your future on it. You maintain distance. Not from bitterness, but clarity. The castle belongs to the one who carried the stones. And when you reach this point, something unexpected happens. You're no longer desperate for support. So you can give it, selectively. You recognize the lonely driven ones. You help, not to be needed, but to strengthen. You never forget the silence. You keep a piece of it with you. Because applause is temporary. Self-reliance is permanent. And now, look at yourself. That empty chair beside you. It isn't loneliness. It's a throne, waiting for someone strong enough to sit in it. Most people will leave here and seek comfort. You didn't. That tells me everything. This path isn't for everyone. It's for the outlier. The one willing to look lost now, to be unstoppable later. And this was only the surface. There are things I can't say openly. Systems that don't survive the algorithm. That's intentional. Not everyone belongs deeper. But if you know, you know. And if you're still here, you're already building in silence. And that's where power actually begins.